I was getting off of an exit, and 2 cars ended up having an accident in front of me.
Oh, wow.
So everybody's slamming on brakes. I'm trying to figure out, I can't hit these cars. I mean, they tell you not to make sudden movements, but I just had it in my head, like, I cannot hit these cars. So at the very last minute, I looked out my driver side and saw nothing was coming, and I...
Let's go, Hustle Fam, and we are back with another amazing episode, and I am super excited today. I have a very, very talented young lady to the right of me over here. I have Mrs. V. Lee in the building. If y'all don't know who V. Lee is, she is a actress, model, trucking influencer, overall influencer, dope individual, entrepreneur. Did I miss anything, V?
I don't think so.
I think I covered it. Yeah. I think I covered it.
I do some of everything.
There's a little bit of everything. Listen, I love your content. I love what you're doing, especially in the trucking space, you know, putting on for the trucking community and just your overall content, your energy, your vibe, all that. So I wanted to bring you on here to get your story, man. See how you got to where you're at today, and just kind of learn a little more about you, man, and talk about, you know, being an influencer in that kind of space. So if that's okay with you, we'll get started.
That's okay with
That's
me.
good.
Yep.
That's good.
Thank you for having me.
All right, for sure. So first of all, welcome to the show. Appreciate you coming out. Let's get started from the beginning, V. Where are you from?
So I am from the Carolinas with an S. So I was born in Charlotte. My mom moved to a little small town in South Carolina called Kingstree.
Okay.
Probably never heard of it, but we moved there when I had to be probably between 7 and 8. And so I went to high school there. But because my dad and the rest of my family were still in Charlotte, like, I was back and forth.
Okay.
So graduated high school there, went to college, and then I moved back to Charlotte.
Okay, you said it's called Kingstree?
Mm-hmm. So it's like an hour from Florence,
okay,
South Carolina, and then like an hour and a half from Charleston.
Is it a really small town?
Yeah, it's
like, how, you know what the population is? Like,
I don't know, but it's like maybe 5, 6 lights.
okay,
yeah,
gotcha.
It's just one of those.
So it's really small. All right, so you moved there, and you said you moved back to Charlotte
after college.
After college,
yep.
Okay. Where'd you go to college?
Coastal Carolina.
Coastal Carolina. All right. So tell me about that. How were you as a child at high school into college? Tell me about those years a little bit.
Woo. Okay, so I was rebellious as a child. I will admit that. And that stemmed from basically, like, I was raised by my stepdad instead of my biological father. So I had like a lot of resentment, a lot of hatred towards him. I couldn't understand like why my dad isn't a part of my life. So it caused me to be rebellious. I was always smart, grade smart. Like, I graduated number 17 in my class with a 3.9 GPA.
Okay.
So I was always book smart, but I don't know, I just had a hard head. I ended up getting expelled from high school.
Oh, wow.
When I was like in 10th grade.
What'd you do to get expelled, V?
Whew, I brought a blade to school.
Oh, man, you was gonna cut somebody?
Yeah. But that's the old me. That's the old me. No, so that's
Let's get right into it. All right.
But no, someone thought that I was trying to, like, what they call it, false claim, like some type of gang. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Hold up, and this is in Charlotte?
No, this was in Kingstree.
This is Kingstree.
Yes.
So they had gangs out there?
Yeah.
What? Okay, and somebody thought that you were false flagging or whatever they call it?
Yeah.
So they challenged you, and it was nothing sweet, apparently.
Yeah, and so I ended up, like, they called the resource officer.
Yeah.
And so I ran from there, made it home because I jumped in somebody's car.
Okay.
And then when I came back to school that Monday,
You had the blade on you.
No, when I came back to school that Monday, they already saw the blade.
Oh, okay,
yeah,
okay.
So when I came back to school that Monday, they already
they expelled you.
Yeah.
Got you.
And so I did online school for that whole year, and then the next year I was allowed to come back to school. So I graduated. Well, of course, during those 2 years I was working and stuff. And then
what were you doing?
Working at Sonic. As a skating car.
Oh, that's dope.
That was my first job.
Okay, cool. So you were working, and this is before college, right?
Yep.
Okay, got you. So then you go to college. You said you were to Coastal Carolina?
Yep.
All right. What do you major in? What do you study?
So the first major that I chose was history.
Okay.
Of all things, I don't know why I chose history, but I realized that wasn't a major for me like within 2 weeks.
Okay.
So I switched my major to political science because I've always had this thing where I want to go to law school. And so a lot of the kids who were going to school with me, that's what they were majoring in.
Okay.
And so I'm like, okay, well, let me go on the same path that they're going on.
Right.
I graduated in 3.5 years.
Okay.
Because the summer before I went to Coastal, I took up summer classes so I could be a semester ahead.
Okay.
Yep. So
you're an exceptional student. I mean, that's dope. I mean, some people don't graduate at all. You did it in 3.5 years.
I was ready to get out of there. And then the crazy part about it, I wanted to go to law school.
Okay.
But after I graduated, I was like, I don't think law school is for me right now. And so I just went back to, so in high school, my junior and senior year, I got my cosmetology license because they had a cosmetology program. So while I was going to college, I was working in a salon as well.
Okay.
Working in a salon and working at Sonic. And going to school.
Hustling, doing it all.
Yeah.
All right. So you working all these jobs. You're obviously a hustler. You go to school. You graduate in 3.5 years with. Did you get to your degree?
In political
science.
Yeah.
But you don't want to continue. You don't want to be a lawyer at this point. So you go back to cosmetology, right? All right. So what are you working at a hair salon?
Oh, okay. So let me tell you why. Another reason why I tried to breeze through.
Okay.
Okay. So I don't know what it is about the second year of school. Like I got expelled from high school my sophomore year, and then my sophomore year of college, I got in some more trouble.
Okay.
And so that I was facing a felony. Yeah. And so the whole time, like, I need to hurry up and get out of school because I didn't know how that was going to play out. And if it turned out bad, then I knew they were going to, like, expel me from the school.
Right.
Yeah.
So you had to expedite that quickly. Okay. Whatever happened with that felony? Were you able to?
It dropped down to a misdemeanor.
Okay.
Simple possession of marijuana.
Okay.
But they originally charged me with maintaining a vehicle for a controlled substance because my passenger had marijuana and all of this stuff.
And now that's all nice and legal everywhere, right? It wouldn't even be a problem these days.
That's crazy.
You know what I'm saying?
Crazy.
But back then you had to be afraid to be, expelled and all that. But I mean, that's America. It is what it is. All right, cool. So you get into cosmetology, right?
Yep.
You're working for somebody, I'm assuming, right? Doing
yes.
that? Okay.
I was working at a salon called Hollywood Exclusive. And so that was a very popular salon in the town. It was Conway, South Carolina. So, yeah.
Okay. Got you. And how long did you do that for?
I worked there until I moved back to Charlotte.
Okay. Got you. So you moved back to Charlotte. And how old are you at this time now?
I think 21.
Okay. And what do you do at that point?
So I ended up moving back to Charlotte and meeting my son. Well, I already knew my son's dad, but we got into a relationship.
Got connected,
and so when I moved there, I picked up bartending, and then I opened a salon suite.
Okay.
And so when I opened a salon suite, I don't think that I realized, okay, I had clientele in South Carolina, but okay, when you move to North Carolina, back to North Carolina, you're gonna have to build your client. Yeah, so I think I stepped out there too fast. So it wasn't as successful as I wanted it to be or expected it to be. Okay,
how long did it last?
Off and on until I moved to Atlanta. So that would be, I moved back to Charlotte in 2014. I moved here in 2016. So on and off.
2 years.
Yep.
Okay. Got you. So were you the only one working in the salon suite? Like how does that work?
Yep.
So it was just like a space and you were just doing hair? Like what were you doing? Just hair?
So it was a, what do you call those places? Like a warehouse, but it had different suites.
Okay, different suites.
Yeah.
All right, got you. So you had your own space and then you had like your own book of business where you had people call you and then you kind of, so it wasn't like a real big establishment or like a brick and mortar, small spot. Okay, cool. So you did that for 2 years. And then you said, what happens after that?
I ended up...
You come back to Atlanta now.
So I got pregnant in between.
Okay, got you.
And then me and my son's dad had our issues.
Okay.
And so I ended up moving out with my son's dad and then in with my grandparents. That was kind of like depressing. It's like, you going back home.
Yeah.
And so it pushed me into depression. And then my aunt died. And so I was just like, I'm cursed in Charlotte. I got to get away from here.
Right.
And I just packed everything in my little Altima and drove to Atlanta.
Okay. Did you know anybody in Atlanta?
No, absolutely nobody.
Okay, so when you, like, what'd you do? Like, you just found an apartment, or what
So I drove to a truck stop, and I want to say it was the truck stop on Boulder Crest, if I can remember correctly. And I slept there like overnight, and I was like, what am I doing? And I stayed there for like 2 days, and then I was like, I can't do this, and I went back to Charlotte. Yep.
So you and your son?
No, he wasn't born. I was pregnant with him.
Oh, you was pregnant at
Yeah,
so you're
I was
pregnant.
5 months pregnant with my son.
So you're pregnant, sleeping at the truck stop. So you did it for 2 nights.
And then I went back to Charlotte, and I think something else happened, and I was like, go back to Atlanta.
Okay.
And I packed up everything again and came back to Atlanta and slept at another truck stop. And then while I was in the car, something just told me, get on Craigslist. Got on Craigslist, I'm searching, and I find this apartment, and I think it was like he wanted $250 a month. That should have been a red flag. That should have been a red.
Yeah.
The apartment. So I pull up to the apartment. Mind you, I called him, and he was like, he had a wife and a child, and so that kind of made me feel comfortable.
Okay.
But when I pulled up, the apartment was in the ghetto. I walked in, no wife, no daughter. It's like a 2-bedroom apartment. Okay. So if you have a daughter, where does your daughter sleep?
Right.
All of that didn't cross my mind until like the first night that I slept there. And he was real weird. Like, when I tell you, this could have been a Craigslist killer situation.
Wow. Yeah. So okay, so he was like renting a room.
Yep.
Basically for $250 a month. Mm-hmm. All right. So
I didn't last the whole month because he started acting crazy.
Right. Okay.
Yep. I would hear like the floorboards creak and stuff, and then my room didn't have a lock on it.
Okay.
So I would literally push all of my stuff in front of the door, and I had a gun at the time. And so I would sleep with my gun under my pillow. So if I heard the door open, I would be like on alert.
Right. Okay. All right. So you don't last a month, which I don't blame you. You get the hell out of there fast. And then what do you do next? And you're still pregnant at this time.
Pregnant as hell.
So you like 8 months, 7 months, like?
I can't remember. Maybe this would be between 6 and 7.
Okay. Yeah. So you pregnant enough.
But see, I was so depressed during my pregnancy, I really didn't gain weight. I was losing weight.
Okay.
So I ended up looking on Craigslist again. And so I saw this apartment complex. We had a listing.
Okay.
I didn't have any check stubs because I wasn't working, but I was scheduled to start a security job. So I asked them would they be able to take like the offer letter.
Gotcha.
For proof of income. So they did.
Okay.
And I was able to move into that apartment.
Okay.
Now I didn't have any money for the deposit, so I ended up having to get the money from my son's dad.
Okay. Got you. But now you have your own spot. You have your own space.
No
You're away
furniture.
from the Craigslist killer, but you're in an empty spot, but it's yours at least, right? Okay. Cool. So you get in there. What happens next?
So my son ended up coming a month early.
Okay.
So I was at work in a lot of pain, working at the State Bar of Georgia.
Okay.
So it's almost like I still was dibbling dabbling in like the law, because that was, of course, like
hold on. When did you get the state bar? You said what was it called?
The State Bar. So I was a security
security. So you were a security officer there.
Yes. But while I was there, I was networking with the lawyers and stuff, because that's where all the defense attorneys worked and prosecutors and stuff like that. So yeah.
Got you. So you were still talking to them, letting them know you were interested in law and all that.
Yep, and they were like giving
kind of mentoring you, or whatever the case may be, trying to pull you back in. All right, cool. But you're working security
Yep.
job. All right, cool. So what happens?
I was in pain. I already had a doctor's appointment coming up. So when I went to my doctor's appointment, I ended up having to be induced and have him in Charlotte. So I was able to make it back to Charlotte to have my son.
Okay.
And so I stayed there for like a couple of weeks, and then I came back to Atlanta depressed as hell because I don't have anybody here. I got a newborn baby. So I found another salon that was right around the corner from where I stayed, because of course when I went out on leave from the security place, I didn't go back because they ended up filling my position.
Okay.
So I found a salon that was around the corner from my apartment complex. It was on Washington Road. and started working there.
Okay.
Yep.
Then you got a lot of jobs, man.
You've
had about 20 jobs already, and we only 20 minutes in. Jeez Louise.
One thing about it, I'm going to find me a job.
Man, I see. Okay, so now you had another salon. Mm-hmm. All right, so continue.
So because I'm still trying to build up clients here, because I don't have any clients here either. Right.
Now you're really not going to have no clients. Exactly. You're in Atlanta now.
So it's so much competition. So then I ended up getting behind on booth rent, but the owners, it was like 2 owners, they were cool about it. And so I ended up like still on them booth rent, but I stopped working there.
What was your booth rent? You remember?
I think $150.
So $150 a week?
Yep.
Okay.
That adds up quick when you don't have no clients.
For sure, 100%.
So I stayed home for a couple of weeks. I think my granddad probably helped me out with my rent.
Okay.
And I found another salon. I don't know, like, what keep making me go to these salons, but this salon was, like, closer in the city. And matter of fact, it was close to Clark, Atlanta.
Okay.
So that was more marketable than where I was because...
Yeah, the college.
Right.
Crowd. So
I started printing out flyers, passing them out. I started getting clients there. Now, she started me off at my booth rent there, $75 a week. Okay. So that was a way more manageable.
Okay.
So I stayed there for like a couple of months, and then an incident happened because my salon and the barbershop beside me, they were like kind of co-owned.
Okay, co-owned. All right.
But the barbers were like very disrespectful, so I couldn't stay there in that type of environment. So I ended up going from that to Cut Creators.
Okay.
Have you heard of Cut Creators?
I've heard of Cut Creators. Yeah.
So I ended up, and that was another salon suite place.
Okay.
I just been all over the world. All over the world.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Okay.
But some of my clients followed me from that salon to Cut Creators.
Okay. Yep. Okay. So you're still doing hair. All right. So continue.
In the midst of that, I had my granddad in my ear. And older people are so big on get you a job with some benefits. And so I kind of started listening to him. And I'm like, okay, I need to find me a job with some benefits. And so that kind of pushed me back into law. So I applied for City of Atlanta Corrections Officer. Got the job there. Started working at...
Yes, he has been everything. You sure you're not Jamaican? All right, get us.
All right, so I started working as the correction officer, but because of the situation that happened when I was in college with the
marijuana.
Yes, they look at that really heavily. So even though I had that handled as a civilian, they still held me accountable for that as an officer. Okay,
so this is something that like popped up while you were working there, like a background check or something like that?
During the investigation process. Okay. So they still allowed me to work there, but I was on probation.
Okay.
So, child. While I was working at the jail, I started dating one of the other correction officers.
Okay.
Which is why I would never date anyone else that I work with.
Right.
Because that turned out horrible, and that's why I ended up getting fired from the jail.
Okay. Okay.
So I got fired from the jail, wanted to still stay in law. So I found a law firm working as a paralegal.
Okay. Okay. Finally, we get back to the law. Finally, you get back to what you majored and went to college for.
Right,
so now you're a paralegal. Okay, cool.
So the lawyer that I was working for was very demanding. Like, it was only him and me. And so that was a lot of stress. I couldn't take it. It was like unbearable. And it pushed me out. Like, I quit and waited a month. And I found another law firm. And then this was between 2019 and 2020. And so I'm working at this law firm, and then COVID pops up.
Right.
So I get laid off from there. And I'm like, I need to find me a job that's going to be around when COVID, like, that can survive COVID or any type of pandemic. So I started thinking about trucking because I've always been around trucking because my whole entire family, like, is involved. Like,
that's a fact.
Yeah. So,
and at one point, not to be funny, you was sleeping at a truck stop. So
I'm already built for it.
You know what I'm saying? You already built for it, so why not?
Yep. So I started researching like trucking companies, and for some reason Swift kept popping up. Like, when I tell you, they were on everything. I was like, okay, well, let me apply to Swift.
Okay.
They were the first people that responded back to me, and so I started truck driving school with them.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So when you first saw the application for Swift, what was the offer that they were making at that time? Like pay wise, and I guess they say they train you and all that. What'd that look like?
You know, honestly, looking back, I don't even think that they even told me what I would be making. I think that I was just so desperate for a job that I didn't even care to ask. Because did I get a sign-on bonus? I can't remember getting a sign-on bonus.
Okay.
But I know I got a bonus after I got my CDL and I went through my mentor program. After I upgraded and got on my own truck, I know they did give me a bonus for that.
Okay. All right. Well, tell me about that process. Now you're doing something totally different. Like
totally different.
You've done hair, you've done law, you've done Sonic, you've done everything else. Now you're driving a truck.
Yep. Okay. So during the permit, I would say is the hardest thing to get.
Okay.
Because you don't know what questions are going to be on it.
The knowledge test and everything
so
like that.
A lot of people fail that.
Yep.
I was able to pass it on the first go. Thank God. Swift prolonged, like, the process, I started getting a little discouraged because I'm like, what's taking so long? I don't know if that was how the background process went, but I had to apply. I got laid off from the law firm in May, and I want to say I applied with them in June, but I didn't hear back from them until July.
Okay. So when you applied, you didn't have a CDL. You applied to get your CDL through Swift.
Yep.
Okay.
And so they always encourage you to get your permit on your own before,
Gotcha.
because it just
expedites the process a little
because
bit.
if you don't, then you'll be in truck driving school 4 weeks or 5 weeks instead of the 2 or 3 weeks.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, got you. So when they get you with a trainer, how does the whole teaching you how to drive a truck situation go? Like, tell me about that.
Okay, so I attended truck driving school in Waco, Georgia.
Okay.
And it was Swift's Academy. So they had, I want to say, it was like 3 or 4 instructors out there, and it was like 2 or 3 students per instructor.
Okay.
And so, of course, they would like show us how to do pre-trips, how to do maneuvers. We would practice every day from 7 a.m. until 5 a.m.
Okay.
So like you out there just on the truck consistently, steady doing parallel parking, alley docking.
Yep.
They take you over the road. Now, the first time I went over the road, I was so nervous. I was like, Lord, please don't let me run nobody over. Even though it says student driver, you still got some ignorant people that they don't pay attention.
Right.
But it was very nerve-wracking.
Was it when you got there? Was there anybody that you could like identify with, or like was it just like what was the landscape like? The people you were there with training.
We were around the same age.
Like same age group. Okay.
And so it was easy for us to study together. I had like 2 people. Really, my whole entire class, I still talk to them.
Yep. Okay. Were they women as well, or guys, or
it was
a
only
mix?
me and another lady.
Okay.
And she was older, but she already had like her class B.
Okay, so she already had a class B.
She was a bus driver.
So she was upgrading to a class A to get her, so she could just drive everything.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So how long before you got your actual license? Were you with?
So I went through the training for 2.5 weeks, and then on the last day of class, I think the day after, I had my exam with the examiner.
Okay, and you passed first time?
Yeah.
There you go. All right.
But I was so nervous because they give you a 2-hour time slot.
Yeah.
And I'm such a perfectionist. I was doing my blind side parallel parking.
Yeah.
And so I was in the box, but I kept thinking that the tail was out of the box, so I kept pulling up. And so the exam, I don't even want to say it. But the examiner was like, girl, just blow your horn. I was like, okay.
Just get it over with. It's done. It's done.
He's like, you in the box. He's like, you wasting your time.
Right.
But yeah.
Right. What else aside from that? What was the hardest, parts of, learning how to drive for you? Like, was it just getting over the fear of it?
Getting over the fear, because believe it or not, like, even though I grew up around trucks and had been in a truck prior, it's just knowing that I'm the one that's operating it. So that was most scary for me. And being that, like, I can back my vehicle, but, like, it's a 53-foot trailer.
That's
like,
a fact.
if you do something wrong, like, you can end everything.
No doubt, no doubt. Okay, so then after you get your license, they send you out on your own or with a trainer?
So after I got my license, I came I came home, and then I requested that I have a female trainer because I just didn't feel comfortable with a male trainer.
Okay.
But they were saying that they didn't have enough females and that I would have to wait like a month for a trainer. I didn't want to wait that long. So I was like, okay, give me a male, but I don't want to sleep on the truck with him.
Right.
And so they found me a trainer where he had a dedicated account going from Atlanta to Mooresville, North Carolina every day. Okay. And so being that we went to the same store every day, we were able to make it home. So I didn't have to sleep on the truck with him.
Okay. Okay, cool. So, I mean, how was that experience? How was actually getting out there and learning? Tell me about that. Whew. Any close calls?
Yes.
So
my first date, and we his route we left at night. Okay. So we left Atlanta at like 8:30, and then we would make it to Charlotte. I don't know why we would leave. Get there so late, but like 2. Okay. It shouldn't take that long, but I don't know why. Right. So they're doing construction on 85. The roads are really narrow with barricades. Yeah. And so I'm driving, and the trucks, I was scared for another truck to pass me, so I kept veering over, almost about to hit the barricade because I'm nervous that this other truck is gonna hit me. Right. And so I think he had dozed off one time, and he woke up, and I was like real close to the barricade. He was like, no. He was like, let them hit you. I was like, let them hit me. He was like, yes, you're gonna kill us. Like, no, let them hit you.
Right. Oh my God.
So yeah, that work zone put me through it, but it taught me how to drive, how to maintain my lane. I tell you that.
Yeah. Any other ones? Any other crazy stories when you got out there?
People cut us off a lot, and so this ain't relating to cutting people off, but I was getting off of an exit, and 2 cars ended up having an accident in front of me. Oh wow! So everybody's slamming on brakes. I'm trying to figure out. I can't hit these cars. I mean, they tell you not to make sudden movements. But I just had it in my head, like, I cannot hit these cars. So at the very last minute, I looked out my driver side and saw nothing was coming, and I just rolled on the shoulder of the road and rolled past the accident. Oh, wow. Yeah, wow. That was scary. I thought I was going to run them over.
What was the biggest thing that you learned, like, or the biggest misconception that you had, I guess, getting into it, that you quickly learned was, like, not the case? Like, you're like, oh, this isn't exactly what I expected it to be. I mean...
I honestly thought that people driving cars knew better. Or like, I realized that...
We're more considerate.
Yeah. I realized some of the dumb stuff that I used to do. So it just made me more aware and to really be cautious of like the distance. Because they already tell you to like keep at least like a 6-second distance in between you and the next car. Right. But... I'm like, nah, I'm going to keep more distance because you just never know.
No doubt, 100%. So when do you go on your own eventually?
So I was with my mentor for 3 weeks. Okay. So the 2.5 weeks at the truck driving school and then another 3 weeks with the mentor. Okay. And then I had to take another test to upgrade and get my own truck.
Okay, so how does that process work? So you take a driving test with them?
They used to do a driving test, but this was just a written test. Okay. So basically like taking the knowledge test again? All over. Yep.
Okay, so you upgraded, now you have your own dedicated truck that belongs to you. Yeah. That you're assigned.
And I got a brand new truck on accident.
How'd that happen?
So they had like. After, I think at the time, any truck that was like a 2015 or 2016, they were getting rid of them. So they wanted me to drive one of the, I think it was like a 2015 up to Greer, up to the terminal in Greer. Okay. And so when I got there, I think the lady that was running the trucking department, she thought that I was another person. Okay. And so she ended up giving me that person's truck.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she got chewed out.
Did you ever like hear from the person who was supposed to get the truck?
No, but I know that lady ended up getting chewed out. They were like, why? She wasn't supposed to get that truck.
Yeah, they gave a brand new driver a brand new truck. They were like, that does not
with 9 miles on it.
You know what I'm saying? That's crazy. All right, so what was the first route that you ran by yourself? Like, did you have like a dedicated run, or were they just sending you all over?
So I trained on the Costco account, and I ended up staying on the Costco account. So I didn't have a dedicated store that I was going to, but I always knew that I was going to Costco, whether it was in a Costco I always ran Southeast. So it was North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee, Georgia, of course, Alabama, and Florida.
Okay.
Yep.
So you're doing reefer or dry?
Both.
So you're doing a combination of both?
Yeah, because I trained on reefer.
Okay. Are you touching anything?
No.
Or, so you just
Definitely
pull up? I was going to say, because I know sometimes you do groceries, you got to touch freight, but you're just backing up into a dock and keeping it moving?
Yeah, and majority of the time it was drop and hook, but then it started getting to where I was doing a lot of live unloads.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, got you. So you said you would do, what was the run you were doing?
They first started me off, I was doing Charlotte.
Okay.
So I was Atlanta to Charlotte. And then that lane went away and they sent me to Tallahassee.
Okay.
So I was going to Tallahassee every day. And then that went away. They sent me back to Matthews, North Carolina.
Okay.
Did that for a little while. That store was a little unorganized. So I requested that they send me to another store. And so I ended up going to the Costco in Brentwood, Tennessee.
Okay. So how was the pay?
So when I first started off, I was making 42 cents a mile. And then by the time, because I don't work with Swift anymore. Okay. So by the time I ended with them, I was making 57 cents a mile.
And what was that based on? Was that performance based, or was that just a time, like a tier based on how long you've been there? Like, how did you get that raise?
So it was safety, the time I was there. And then what else did they base it on? More so safety and getting your loads there on time.
Okay,
yep.
Got you. Did you ever have any incidents while you were driving, aside from the ones you just explained, or were you a pretty safe driver?
I was a pretty safe driver. Now, I did have a close call. I didn't realize how sleepy I was one night. And if it wasn't for those little rumples on the side of the road, yes, I probably would have been in the woods somewhere.
Yeah.
And that made me realize like how important sleep is, because I had a lot, because I have a son. And so I would leave Atlanta at 2 or 3 in the afternoon and don't get back until 2 or 3 in the morning. Then I take a nap. Well, when I come home, I'm not going to go right to sleep because I got to unwind, take a shower. By the time I go to sleep, it's like 4:30, 5 o'clock. Well, my son got to go to school. So I got to wake right back up at like 6:15, get him ready. I still can't go right back to sleep. So by the time you think about it, I only was getting 4 or 5 hours of sleep.
Got you.
Yep.
Okay. So at what point do you start pulling out your phone and making a bunch of content? With all these things that you got going on, all this stuff in your head, when do you start kind of getting into the, hey, you know what? I want to create content. I want to,
So I actually created content before I started trucking. Okay. So I started doing content in 2018.
Okay. What type of content were you doing then?
Just pure skits.
Just skits.
Yep.
Okay, like
just
comedy, just being silly.
Yep.
Okay.
Just networking with a whole bunch of influencers, dropping consistently, stuff like that. And then once I went to truck driving school, I realized, I think I saw one video of a female trucker, but then it just made me think about how many other females probably want to drive, but they're a mother. Like, they don't think that they'll have help with the kids or whatever. So I'm like, well, I need to be a voice for other women. So I just dropped a video.
Well, do you remember the first piece of content, like trucking content that you created?
I was in truck driving school. Okay. And I just posted a picture beside the truck.
Okay.
And they went crazy. They were like, "Oh my God!" I'm like, "Oh, I didn't expect that."
So what was the reception? Like, what were people saying? They didn't expect you to be driving a truck, or they were like inquiring, like, "Hey, I like that. I want to drive a truck too." Both. Like, that's kind of what it was.
It was both. A lot of people were like, "You too pretty to drive." How are you too pretty to drive? I don't understand. Right. It doesn't make any sense. You're never too pretty to make money.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
So, but a lot of females did start messaging me, asking me like how I went about the process and what it's like and stuff like that.
Okay, all right. So you start creating the content on a consistent basis for, trucking now, right?
Well, so I didn't want to take away from the other content that I created. So I tried to be strategic and drop like maybe 1 trucking skit a week or 2 at most, because I didn't want my page to turn into a trucking page. Okay. Because then that's all they would expect me to drop.
Got you. Okay, so how seriously, like, when did you start taking content like really like serious, like almost like it's like another career, like another hustle? Like, was that around 2018?
No, it had to be like around 2020. So my other friends that are really big on social media, I started seeing how much money they were making and the connections and opportunities that they were getting from doing it. And I'm like, I need to start dropping consistently.
What was your first like big opportunity where you were able to actually get some money out of creating content outside of like just like a like streaming money like that you come from Instagram or something like that, like from outside sponsors, outside sources?
I want to say it came from like a video shoot.
Okay.
Like, so I started doing video shoots, and then with the trucking thing, I want to say the first,
like music video.
Yeah.
You was in music videos? Which music videos were you in?
You just have to look them up.
How am I gonna find them? Was V Lee music video? You got to give me like some breadcrumbs or something.
No, I'm not gonna even. I don't.
Okay, never mind. Never mind.
You still in a rapper.
Yeah. Okay, so some music videos.
Yeah,
right.
but I think the first big collab, I don't know. That's crazy because I
You don't remember?
No, I don't.
Okay.
That's crazy.
Well, okay, so let me ask you this question. When did you, like, what did you look at, like, I guess in your analytics, or what was it that you knew you had some leverage to be an influencer? Like, when did you make that transition?
My insights were, because like I said, I was talking to my other friends, and they were like, your engagement and your insights is what's going to get you the money. And so my insights were consistently like in the millions. My followers was growing through the roof.
Right.
And so I'm like, okay, I need to be charging for this because people that I would promote, like, I'm a really nice person. So if I see something that I like, okay, I'm gonna post it on my story.
Right.
But then I started seeing the sales and stuff they were getting for that. I'm like, oh no, honey, I need to be getting paid for that.
Right. Right. I got you. So do you remember like what your first like big sponsorship was or anything like that you could recall? I mean, you don't got to say who it was, but do you remember like around like what it was for, how much money you made, or?
I want to say when I first started, I was only getting like $500 here.
Okay.
$500 there, and then it bumped up to like 1,000.
Okay. Did you reach out? Did you like reach out to people, or were people just reaching out to you?
They were reaching out.
Okay.
Yep. And then I started trying to reach out to people, but I don't think that I had experience in pitching, so I would get a response every now and then.
Okay.
Like I remember sending a pitch to like I always wore Vans when I was driving, so I sent one to them, and then I sent one to like Converse and Nissan, and I never heard anything.
So what was like email, or were you just DMing them?
Email with all of my description, what I do, what my niche is, and then like my engagement and insights. But yeah, I never heard.
So when you're thinking about creating content, like, do you have like a schedule that you kind of follow, or do you just do it randomly? Like, how do you think about it?
It's very random. So like, if I dress up today, like I did a little light beat, I might go create 3 or 4 videos after I leave here. Okay. And just have it and post it whenever I feel like it.
Are you strategic at all in the type of content that you create? Like, I know you said you don't want to ever put yourself in a box as one specific type of content creator, but like, are you like, I want to capture a certain type of audience or with this post, or like how strategic are you when you post? That's
now I do that. It depends on the time of the week too.
Okay.
Because Fridays are very slow for me, so I try not to post on Fridays. But like if I post a regular video today, then tomorrow I need to post a trucking video. Okay. Like I try to go back and forth, so I try to plan out the week like that, how I'm gonna post.
So do you create your content in batches, or do you just create like on the spot and post it?
Both.
Okay.
So if something really, really funny happens right now, while it's on my brain, I'm gonna go ahead and create a skit for it. Okay. And drop it.
Got you. So when you think about the skits and collaborating with people, you said that's been something you've kind of been doing since 2018. So you have like a group of friends that create content. So do y'all like kind of like just call each other and be like, hey, I got this idea. Let's do it. That's kind of how that works?
Yep. And it's like, we'll meet up and it'll be all of us there and we just
make it happen. So how has that helped you grow your page and your influence by collaborating with people? Because I guess they see you on other pages and all that.
In the beginning, and then I didn't want my page to turn into their page as well. So
right.
I started doing more videos by myself. And then especially with the trucking videos, I don't know what it is about, they just can't get over the fact that I'm a female driving the truck. But that brought so much followers.
Yeah.
Like crazy followers.
Got you. How many different trucking related companies, service based companies reach out to you on like a regular basis?
A good bit. I did a campaign with A to B Fuel Card a while ago, and then what's the other company? It's like supposed to be this job finding app. Is
it called like Job Finder or something like that?
Something like that, right? Yeah, that's
they're like,
one of
they're like almost like a driver recruitment or placement.
Right,
okay,
right.
I know what you're talking about.
That one, and then I just did the Facebook campaign with for female truckers.
Okay,
so, yeah,
I saw that.
Yeah.
How did that come about with the Facebook campaign?
So I usually don't open DMs, but for some reason I opened like my request, and it was this lady, and she said that she was from this agency. I look everything up. So I looked her up, saw that it was legit, and then I emailed her back, and she was a part of Facebook's team or whatever.
Okay.
And that's how I got on that.
Okay. And how do you decide like what opportunities you're gonna take on, and which like do you ever like pass on opportunities when they come your way if there's a bag involved in it?
Yes.
Like what type of opportunities do you say, nah, I'm good, if the money's not enough? Or tell me about that.
If I feel like they're not giving me the freedom to be myself, like I'm still a creator, so I get that you have your brand or whatever, but I still need to represent my own brand. So if you're not allowing me the freedom, or you're not willing to negotiate, then I can't work with you. That's one of the main things. And then, like you said, the pay, if I have my set rate at this and you just can't meet that.
Gotcha.
If I don't see, now some cases I will go ahead and do it. Like if I see where it can benefit me in the long run, then I'll do it.
Has creating content ever been a conflict of interest with the company? Like, for example, when you're with Swift Driving, has there ever been like a time when like somebody from their management saw the content and they didn't approve, they didn't like it? Or
no.
That's never happened?
No, which was confusing because I was like, when I first started doing videos and I had their truck in the video,
right,
I was so nervous to pose. But then my driver leader saw it and she was like, it's funny. Like, and then I went and read their policy. They don't have anything that says that you can't put out content. So
really,
that's what made me, okay, it's go time now.
Yeah, because that's interesting, because I think they're probably embracing just a new age, because like probably 10 years ago, you probably couldn't get away with that.
No.
You know what I mean?
Not at all.
They'd be like, nah, you got to take that down. You know, because they're so afraid of lawsuits and anything that could happen, them being represented in a certain way.
Now, I did try to keep some of the, majority of my content clean, like no raunchy dancing, stuff like that. Because at the end of the day, that's still a company with its own brand.
Right,
so, yeah.
Right. All right. So you said, going back to trucking, how long did you stay with Swift? You said you left, you're not with them anymore, right?
So, no.
All right. So how long were you with them? And then what happened? Why'd you leave?
18 months I was with them.
That's a long
the
time.
only, that's the only company that I worked for my entire career.
Especially with Swift, because a lot of people use Swift as like a launching pad, and they'll stay there for 6 months.
A lot of people hate Swift.
A lot of people do. There's a lot of acronyms for Swift.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've heard plenty of them.
Plenty of them.
Right, but you stayed on, so they must have not been too bad for you for the time being.
No, because I was actually one of the lucky ones, being that I was on a dedicated run. So I knew I was coming home every night. I knew how much I was getting paid. But then it started getting to a point what made me leave them is it started becoming inconsistent. So lanes were dropping very frequently. And then management, like, I went through hell of driver leaders.
Okay.
Yeah. So
like they had turnover in management.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I had asked about coming off of the road and becoming a yard driver, just driving the trucks around the yard.
Yeah.
And they kept telling me that that's not a position for a female, blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
Really? Mm-hmm. Well, how'd they substantiate that? It's not a position for a female?
Yeah. So
they said that?
Yeah. Not Swift corporate's office, but the person who was over that Costco account. Yeah.
That's crazy.
And so that made me feel some type of way. And then my pay. So I knew I was getting, like, I was running real hard. And my checks, I'm like, I started paying attention to my checks. I'm like, okay, I work 5 days. Right. Why am I only paid for 4 loads? And it just kept happening more frequently. I'm like, this is crazy. I'm not about to be waiting on my money because y'all not getting y'all loads late. Like, I'm delivering on time.
Right.
And then the last thing, when I blew up on social media, it must have sparked the entrance in their marketing department. And so they asked me to come out to Phoenix and do a photo shoot and an interview.
Okay.
At the
so this is during the time where they're dogging you out professionally, right? They're not allowing you to have an opportunity in the yard. They're not paying you correctly, but now they want you to go and represent their brand.
Yeah. And at the time, like, this was earlier this year because I just left there. February 10th was my last day with them.
Okay.
So when I did the photo shoot and interview, this was in January.
Okay.
I was not thinking about it, but I was just so happy, like, oh, they recognize me. Oh, I'm finally getting the recognition. Maybe this will change some stuff. But when I drove out there, remember I told you I was getting 57 cents a mile. First of all, I don't know any company that wants you to do an interview and photo shoot and they make you drive over there.
Facts.
Like, they'll usually fly you or something.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, well, maybe I'm a truck driver. Okay, let me drive over there.
They want you to be in action?
Yeah, that's what that's
we want the raw V. We want you to drive and pull up sweaty.
So that's why I went along with it. But in the back of my head, I'm like, this seemed kind of sketchy.
Right.
And of course, I had to take a load out there. So that truck ain't moving for free.
Yo, these cats is crazy.
So not only, I remember I said 57 cents.
Yeah.
My pay went down to 52 cents. When I got my check for them loads, I'm like, how is my pay 52 cents? They're like, oh, you got more miles. Because you got more miles, it needs to balance out. So we're going to pay you 52 cents. No, I don't think so.
Wow.
I don't think so. I didn't get paid for the photo shoot or the interview. So it was just like free marketing for them.
Yeah. Free market. I mean, and you got exposure too, but at the end of the day, it was more for them than for you.
Yeah, because
you know
I have more
to offer. Your presence is more valuable than it would be vice versa, right? Because you're attracting other women and other people to Swift, other minorities to Swift. So when they see you, they're like, that's other, and they know that.
Exactly.
They know that.
And so on the way back is when it hit me. I'm like
a ton of bricks over your head, huh? You was like, they just bamboozled me.
Man, I was so hurried driving back over. Like, literally, I was like, wow.
Are you driving back? Do you have a load on the way back too?
Yes. These people sent me to the border of Mexico to pick up a load and bring all the way back to Atlanta. Mind you, I had a breakdown, like not a mechanical breakdown, but like a mental breakdown, because when I went over there, I almost crossed the border. And so, don't get me, I need to get my passport. But I'm like, man, how the hell I'm gonna get back over? So I'm sweating.
Yo.
I'm sweating bricks. I'm like, cause when I tell you I got so close to the border, but then I turned down like this residential area and the road was like so narrow, and I found this one little place big enough. I backed that thing in there, people blowing their horn like, I'm like, how fast do y'all want me to back up? Yo, that was wild.
Yo, that is wild. Yo, Swift, they gangster, man.
Yeah.
They gangster. Okay, so after that campaign, so you quit like right after that, right?
Yep. And so my main
that was the final straw.
That was the final straw. I couldn't take it. I couldn't take it.
Okay. And what do you do after that?
So I sat at home for a couple of weeks, and so my main thing now is I want to start my own trucking company.
Okay.
But that's always been my goal. So I started an LLC a year ago.
Okay.
Got a logo made a year ago. I just need to find a truck.
What's the name of the company?
Leaper Transport.
Leaper?
Yeah, because my last name is Leaper.
Okay. Dope. Leaper Transport.
Yep. So right now, like I have family back in South Carolina that drive, so I'll go with them occasionally. But if I go with another company in the meantime, it has to be like a small company where I know that they're going to respect me as a driver, because these mega carriers don't really respect you. They don't even know your name. Like, you're just a number, a truck number to them, a driver code to them.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah.
So you took a break from driving for the moment, and now you're looking.
I'm back into it. Yeah.
You're getting back into it, but you're gonna start your own thing.
Yes, that's my main goal.
Oh, but did you start driving again for somebody else, or?
So I go with my family members from time to time.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, got you. So they had their own businesses, so you helped them out.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
But
man.
yeah, the main goal is to start my own company.
Okay.
Now while I was with Swift, people don't realize, like, when you're a company driver, those companies they might not be the best company, but they're successful for a reason. So
Facts.
I was soaking up so much knowledge, like, of how to run things. Like, their whole the book that was in the truck. Yeah. I copied that from front to back. I took pictures, sent it to myself. I'm like, okay, well, I need this, I need that for tags and registration. Yeah. So I paid attention to how much it took me to fill up and stuff like that. So right. I do appreciate that experience, because I'm going to take that into when I start my own truck. What
would you say is the main thing you took from, like, processes, systems, like, away from them? Like, what would be the main thing if you had one?
Time management and money management.
Got you. Time management and money management. So I understand time, like how you manage your clock, or how they help you manage your clock?
Both, because at the end of the day, you the driver of that truck. So right. You got to know when you can run. Do you feel like running today? Stuff like that. And trip planning and stuff, that's real important. And
how they help you with money management? What did they teach you about that?
Well, when I wasn't getting my checks on time, I had to.
You had to manage your money. You had to learn to manage your money because you wasn't getting your checks
exactly.
on time. Would you tell anybody to work with Swift, a new driver?
I would, but I would say that it's just a starter company. I don't see, and this is just me personally, I don't see where you can grow in the company. I just say soak up what you can soak up while you're there and move on to bigger and better.
What do you think of truck driving as a career for women and just for people in general? Like, how when you talk to your peers and talk to other people, like, when they ask you about it, what's the advice that you give them?
I would say that it is a very rewarding career, because the money is definitely in it. But you just have to know how to maintain your life outside of that truck. Mental health is very important. You're driving these long hours by yourself. You're gonna get tired of listening to music. It can get very boring. You're away from your family, and you have a lot of time to think. So a lot of the times, like, you need to I wouldn't advise anybody to be on the truck for 2-3 weeks at a time, ever, because you're just there thinking. Like,
what did you do while you're on the road? Like, what did you do for your mental health?
I got to come home every day.
That's true. You weren't on the road like that, so it wasn't as bad for you.
No.
Wow, that's crazy. But you do like the job. You like driving a truck, obviously, because you want to start a company.
It's a lifestyle.
That's what I was gonna say. So it's a lifestyle for you. So when you start your company, you're gonna drive, or do you want to? Is your vision more so being a fleet owner and having drivers? Like, what's your vision?
Eventually. So every career that I've chosen, I've always wanted to start from the bottom. So, like, for me, I couldn't see myself becoming a fleet owner without knowing how it feels to be the driver. So when I do start my own company, I am going to drive at first, but then once I start growing, I know, I mean, of course I can hire people to manage it, but you just can't trust everybody. So I know I'm going to still want to have a hand in managing too. So,
do you have a particular niche that you're interested in?
So I'm getting into containers.
Okay.
So between driving and containers, like household goods and stuff like that.
So you work like the ports and stuff like that, or just like other, like, what type of container work?
Like rail yard.
Rail yard stuff. Okay, so you won't do the ports, really? Okay.
I would eventually.
Got you.
Yep.
Got you. Okay. Dope, man. Dope.
I'm actually getting my
TWIC card?
Yep.
Okay, you're in the process of doing that now?
Yep.
I mean, there's a lot of opportunity for people working in the ports. For some reason, well, the thing is, people don't like to do it because it's a learning curve to learn how to maneuver in the ports, how to work in the ports. It's just, you have to know what you're doing, because if you don't,
Man,
they'll kick you out of there real quick. You know what I'm saying?
The first time I went to the port and I just saw how the crane was lowering, I'm like, well, y'all some trusting people because
it's different. It's definitely
I'm scared
different.
That thing will fall on me.
Yeah, it's definitely different.
That's a lot.
Like even like in especially in Jersey, like the guys who work at the port, you got to be a different type of animal. Like just waiting, knowing how to maneuver in the ports, knowing how to get around, how to get your loads. It's just you have to know what you're doing. But once you know what you're doing, then it's good money. Easy, and then like you said, your home every day is local. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
All right, dope, man. Dope story, man. I didn't know you had so many different layers to you, miss. I mean, you got so much going on, all these different jobs, all these different but you know what's funny? That kind of explains like your social media presence because you have so much experience doing so much different things. You can relate to different worlds, so now you kind of translate that through your content.
Yeah.
So it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's dope. That's dope.
And I'm trying to be more transparent now. Because like when I started building my platform, a lot of people, they don't know what you're going through because you just show the good. So I'm trying to be very transparent now. Got you.
So ultimately, if you could choose one, what would you be doing with your life? Like if you could just choose one thing, and that's
it. Gotta be one.
It gotta be one. If you had to choose one and say this is what I'm gonna do for the rest, let's not say the rest of your life for the next 10 years.
I got it.
All right, talk to me.
Because I'm in acting and trucking, I would be the owner of a trucking company that transports film equipment.
I like that. That's dope. That's a dope niche right there. That might be it.
Yeah.
That might be the one. Okay.
Hopefully it is.
Let's put that out there into the world. You know what I'm saying?
Throw it out there.
Throw that out there and let's bring that back. All right, dope, man. Listen, this has been a dope conversation. I appreciate you joining me today. We're gonna wrap it up because we've been rapping for a minute.
Okay.
Unless you have some more you want to talk about. Did I leave anything out? Because we're trying to get to know you. You know what I'm saying?
Like being a mother and a trucker?
We didn't talk about being a mother and a trucker, and that's important. Let's get into that. Let's
because that's the main reason why that deters a lot of women.
Yeah, so let's get into that.
Okay.
Being a mother trucker. How is it being a mother and a trucker? Talk about it.
It took some getting used to at first.
Okay.
Because I used to blame myself. I used to feel like even though I was coming home every night that I wasn't there for him like I should have been. So in the beginning I was depressed trying to get over that. But then in the end I just realized you trying to do what's best for your child. You're not gonna be doing this forever. Right. And a lot of women probably feel like that, so they don't get into trucking.
How did he take it? Like you being away and everything. Did you see like a difference in your son from you not being around as much or?
At first.
Okay.
I would notice that he would act out a little bit to get attention.
Okay.
And so like he could be sitting here and then he'll just do something just so I can say, Kyle, or like, come here, Kyle. Like he was doing stuff like that.
Now when he sees like a truck on the road, is he like, Mommy, you drive one of those? Yep. Like he gets excited about it?
My first time bringing him in the truck, he was so scared. Okay. And especially like when I blew the horn, but he's comfortable with it now.
Okay, he's adapting to it.
Mm-hmm. He go to school. He told his teacher, "I'm a truck driver," so I think he's proud.
That's dope. That's dope. So when you are on the road, but you're home every day. So,
but some nights, if I got too tired, I wouldn't come home.
You wouldn't come home.
No.
Okay. So who do you have him with at that time? During that time?
My boyfriend.
Okay, he's with your boyfriend. Okay, cool. So you manage, you making it work. You know what I'm saying?
That's the hardest part. Like, I will say, because they have 24-hour daycares and stuff, but a lot of women, you know, they don't want to leave their child with a stranger to go work.
Yeah. What are some of the other questions? Because you said that's one of the main things that women ask you about, like how is it being a mother? You know, I'm sure like how is it being a woman just in general, right? Just like your experience. What are some of the other things that women ask you that you like kind of lend your advice to? Be aware of your surroundings.
Especially we are women, so when you pull up to a truck stop, you do have guys that are scoping. So like I would advise, like when you get to truck stops, immediately close your curtains. Don't go park in dark areas and stuff like that. If it's a certain time of night, you got to use it. You better get your little bucket. Don't get out that truck. But honestly, I haven't encountered any crazy incidents. Like, I think some of the stuff is exaggerated.
Really?
Yeah, some of it can be exaggerated. But I've run into people like that recognize me off social media, but I haven't had anybody that gave me a scare.
That's interesting. That's interesting. So when you say exaggerated, you mean like as far as like the publicity they give to those type of situations, you think they may not happen as much, or?
I don't think it,
because it hasn't really happened to you, in your experience.
I'm sure it happens, but.
Right, but just in your experience, it
hasn't happened. And then, you know, when you drive for a company, they don't even want you to like carry firearms and stuff.
Right.
So women, we got to have mace.
Right.
Baseball bats, stuff like that. But like I said, I haven't had to use any of that.
Gotcha.
People scary. I mean, they make it more scary than what it is.
Gotcha. Do you think that may have anything to do with like just the way you move? Like maybe you just might emanate like that "don't mess with me" type of like.
Probably because,
you know what I'm saying?
Like with me working in corrections, I'm kind of like on the swivel. I pay attention to everything. I don't turn my back to nothing. Even when I'm pumping fuel. Like, I'm constantly.
You're
like,
always on point.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, and that's the thing, because people could smell, like wolves smell victims. You know what I'm saying? They know when somebody's a easy victim, and they know when somebody's gonna give them a problem.
Yeah.
So,
and I don't talk too much. Like I'm very friendly, but if I'm in passing, hey, how you doing? That's it.
Gotcha.
You know, stopping having no conversation.
Yeah.
I got a job to do.
You ever have anybody look at you crazy when you creating content while you on the truck?
Yes.
Like, yo, what is she doing?
Yep. I just feel like, my bad. Like, I want to die. I'm just doing a TikTok.
Right. And they're like, what, TikTok? What's a TikTok?
But it's funny because a lot of people are on TikTok now. Even the older drivers, like, they'll look and be laughing, and they'll be like,
that's a fact. You're right. What's your favorite platform?
Instagram.
Instagram? Why do you like Instagram more than TikTok? Because TikTok is growing like crazy.
It's easier to go up on TikTok, but I feel like Instagram, you'll have a more genuine following because people just follow on TikTok. They see a video, they're like, oh, follow.
Right. You know why though? I think, and this is my theory, right? I think that Instagram people are a little bit more bougie and a little bit more selective about who they follow. Right? Because it's like, if you follow somebody on Instagram, it's like you're almost like kind of like submitting to them in a way. Right? Because it's like everybody wants to have like 1 billion followers and follow nobody. Right? So it's like if you follow somebody, you're like giving them a piece of you. But like on TikTok, people just are looking at like subjects, how-tos, guides, and they could care less. That's why you could post one video on TikTok, it go viral, and you could go from like 0 to like 10,000 people overnight. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's the biggest opportunity for growth right now, right?
And if you do it right, if you get a whole bunch of followers from TikTok and you put your Instagram in your TikTok bio, because like they have a button to where you can just click it and it'll take you right to the person's Instagram. A lot of people get followers off that too.
Yeah, for sure. So you said you like, why did you say you like Instagram? Did you tell me?
Because it's a more genuine following.
Like, genuine. Yeah, because what I was saying, like people really rock with you more. So let me ask you this. In social media in general, like how do you feel about this audience that you amass? How do you feel about like kind of the fact that Instagram kind of owns that audience? Like, have you ever thought about kind of taking that audience somewhere else to where you can kind of like know and have more intimate engagements with these people that follow you, watch you? To YouTube. Okay, so now you're starting to jump on YouTube now. Okay.
Because so my Instagram followers is probably at like 375, and I think my TikTok is like at 260. I'm trying to build the Facebook. Facebook is harder.
Facebook is dead.
Yeah, that's like
it's like a graveyard over there.
I'm like, dang, what's going on? But a lot of people, but see, I'm myself on Instagram and TikTok, but you can be more of yourself on YouTube.
Okay.
And the videos are longer.
It's a longer form.
Yep.
Right, and you could, like you said, you could be more kind of transparent and just talk about your life, like more so vlogging.
Right.
Yeah. And that's the other thing. You have to create different content for different platforms.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So like TikTok is more like quick, funny, 10-second stuff or whatever. Instagram is more like intimate, and like you said, YouTube is more like this is who I am for real.
Now, a lot of my trucking opportunities, like sponsorships and stuff, have come from TikTok.
Come from TikTok.
Yep.
Yeah, because I think that's where everybody's looking now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They're like, who's the biggest TikTok influencers? And that's where they're looking for the, you know, who's the new breed of influencers where we could spend some money, you know? Yeah. So, no, that's dope. All right, so yeah, we covered being a mother in trucking. We covered all the TikTok stuff, Instagram. What else? Did we miss anything? What else did we miss, Quake? He said, we covered a lot.
Nah, I mean, unless you want to go more in depth, you know. I was just curious.
Yeah.
I was just curious as to, I guess, when was the day? I guess you kind of mentioned some viral moments that you had, like took the picture in front of. But like, what was the post or what was the time period to where you really saw things transition and you were like, oh, okay, this is it. Now things are different, really blowing up.
Like, was there like a viral post that went viral?
Yeah, or was it just
or a bunch of posts?
It was a couple of posts. So before I started doing videos, I had like 2,600 followers. Then I did this one video and I went to 10K. And so I'm like,
one video.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay.
And it's on Instagram. So what was that? What was that video?
I want to say I did a video with like a midget guy, and I might have picked him up or did something.
Just something wild. Okay.
And then I had another video after that with another guy. It was like a cheating video.
Okay.
But then the trucking, that after I posted me in trucking school, I think I did, what was my other video after that? I can't remember. It was one more video after that, and it went crazy.
Okay.
And then I posted another video with me learning on the manual. That brought a lot of followers, but it also brought like a lot of hatred.
A lot of haters.
Yeah.
You can't drive no truck. You ain't no real driver. Oh, you only drive an automatic.
Yeah.
And all that kind of hate, right?
So that goes back into like being a woman out here driving. You have a lot of men that will respect you as a driver, but you have a lot of older, I don't want to say it.
Yeah.
Caucasian.
I got you. Yeah, I got you.
You got a lot of older,
the old guard.
Yeah, you got a lot of older drivers that don't respect it. Like they think you're supposed to be at the house cooking, cleaning, stuff like that. So
yeah.
When I first started, my granddad didn't want me to drive, and he was a diesel mechanic and a driver.
Really.
He told me I need to go back into corporate America.
Wow. So how do you have the resilience to withstand all that hate?
For me, anything I want to do, I just block out people.
Yeah.
Like now, don't get me wrong, you're not gonna be strong all the time. So I do have my weak moments where I'm like, dang, why are they so mean? Then I just snap back to it like, girl, that's what you want to do. So bump what them people saying.
Right.
You got a goal that you're trying to reach.
Right. 100%. All right, dope. Well, listen, we gonna wrap because I think we got everything.
Okay.
We got everything. How long are we going? Like an hour and a half?
Well, like an hour 10.
Hour 10? Okay, cool. We good.
Dang.
I
was kind of nervous when we started it at first.
No, it goes by fast. See, you forgot the cameras was even here. We just got into it. All right, so when we end the show, we always have to end with a final thought, which is basically anything. It could be like an entrepreneurial thought, a spiritual thought. It could be like just some words of wisdom from your experience. And then lastly, you got to let everybody know, if they don't already know, where to connect with you. Everybody already knows where you at, but for the people who don't, we got to let them know where to find you. So you can start with the final thought.
Okay. So my final thought, especially with trucking, would be to always be willing to learn and be a sponge and soak up any and everything. Like, I don't care if you've been driving 20 years, you still don't know everything there is to know about trucking. And especially like from a company driver aspect, people talk trash about being a company driver, but it's stuff that you can learn from those companies and take and put it towards when you start your own company. I would say make sure that you are getting a proper rest, making sure your mental and your physical is in top tier condition. And I think that's all for my final thoughts. Mothers, if this is something that you really want to do, I would say block out anything that's trying to hold you back, and realize that if this is something that you're going to do, God, can we be spiritual?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
If for the mothers, if this is something that you want to do, block out anything that you feel like is holding you back and just leave it in God's hands, and know that if this is your destiny, that he's going to make a way for it.
That's right. And where can people connect with you, Miss?
On all social media platforms at IamVeelee. That's IamVeelee. And on YouTube, yeah, my YouTube is the same thing too.
No doubt. And very soon, Leaply Trucking and Transportation. What's
very soon, Leaper Transport.
Leaper.
Yep.
Leaper
like
Transport.
Leapfrog.
Like a leapfrog. I like that. All right. Well, we manifesting that. You heard it here first. We'll be circling back in like about a year or two to talk about how the business is going and all that. Right? You going to join me? Right? We talk about the first year in business?
Yes.
All right, cool. Hustle fam, if you can't respect that, your whole perspective is whack. You know what we do around this time. Listen, what's my saying again, Quake?
If you smell something burning,
it's only your desire. Hustle fam, myself, V. Lee, we out.
If you twisted, confused, or stuck about trucks, don't be dumb. This is the place to come. Truck and hustle. Let's go.